Week 1. College news, Rutgers head coach Kyle Flood suspended 3 games for making contact with a faculty member about the grades of one of his players. I'm Deb Carson.
Where the left and right come together for fundamental truths. AD on the radio.
Every day you're going and working, running that rat race and that pace and that place will leave a bad taste for anyone, everyone working day after day. So buddy, I gotta say that you, there's gotta be a better way, yeah. And you do what they told ya, company man, feel it, a mindless little soldier. How can you live like that and maintain your composure before it's begun? Your life's already freaking over, yeah. I do what I want, when I want, how I want, yeah. I do what I want, when I want, how I want. This is my United States of whatever. Picture me giving a damn, I said never. Yeah, I do what I want, when I want, how I want.
A former Colorado radio DJ is suing Taylor Swift after he was fired for allegedly grabbing her rear end.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Kanye West interrupted the lawsuit to say that Beyonce has the most squeezable butt of all time. I wonder if it was just an inadvertent brush. It's a very Seinfeldian Larry David-esque concept. No lift and squeeze, just a brush. Like he might have had, it's Colorado. Colorado's very, very cold. He might have been wearing sort of a bulky jacket with some sort of snaps on it and stuff. And, as you lift up your arm to put your arm around the person you're taking a picture to, pieces of your Velcro or whatever the hell it is you're wearing, or your snaps, or I don't know. I live mostly in Texas and California, so I don't wear bulky winter clothes. But in Colorado, it's sort of like an extra layer of stuff that you have no control over. I'm willing to accept that something might have touched Taylor Swift's butt that she felt like was a lift and squeeze.
Velcro faux pas.
Velcro faux. I think it might have been, in its own weird way, some sort of wardrobe malfunction. But I can't imagine that a guy making 150 G's a year would jeopardize that by going, I'm going to squeeze Taylor Swift's butt. That said, if there's one common thread that runs through the psyche of most American radio personalities that I've noticed, it is a tremendous sense of self-importance. And going like, I'm going to squeeze Taylor Swift's butt, and it's going to be awesome, and it will make me a hero in this town. That's not entirely out of the realm of possibility either. So we wait and see how the lawsuit falls.
Tune in tomorrow for another wacky story.
Yeah. I could never sue any of the people that come through. I could never sue any of the people that I interview. Like, that's not going to... Yeah. I'm not going to make it... Like, he gets to interview Taylor Swift. It's just like... what happens if I sue, like... Well, no, I guess the guys from the
I just wonder what happens. Like, let's say it works out and he doesn't get sued and everything. What's going to happen to, like, how are they going to treat the radio station? And, like, will we ever see Taylor Swift in Colorado again?
I don't know.
Like...
Yeah.
Are you blacklisted from the Taylor Swift empire? Are you going to get struck by lightning?
Taylor Swift seems pretty adept at doing damage control.
Yeah.
So I would once it's all over, I would not be surprised if she made some sort of bit out of it the way she did when
write a song about it.
Nicki Minaj went after her for like being white on Twitter. I don't know. I can't remember what it was.
No, you didn't touch my butt. You didn't touch my butt. Oh, yes, you did. Oh, yes, you did.
That's very good. Now that's going to be stuck in my head. You didn't touch my butt. You didn't touch my butt.
No.
You didn't touch my butt. Lift and squeeze.
Lift and squeeze.
And squeeze. Lift and squeeze.
And squeeze.
And squeeze.
I hate everybody. I hate everyone. Oh, I hate everybody. I hate everyone. I hate everybody. I hate everyone. Oh, I hate everybody. I hate everyone. Oh God, I'm getting so sick of this. Why everybody gotta be so ridiculous? Serenity now. Serenity now. What if I just burn this whole town down? Everyone's an idiot but me. That's a cold hard fact, not just what I believe. I want a little quiet, so don't try it. I'll check your ass like a looter in a riot. Shut up, bitch, shut up now. Keeping it secret's gonna make me smile. Shut your mouth, wait till I'm done. Oh God, this is why I just hate everyone. I hate everybody. I hate everyone. Oh, I hate everybody. Little unwanted failures who live on welfare, who live in trailers, and it's just not fair, no. That all my tax dollars will be paying for them to be losers from the start of their life to the end, and that's why I'm not sad when people in poverty die, and why you should pass an IQ test or be sterilized. Shut up, bitch, shut up now. Keeping it sick is gonna make me smile. Shut your whole mouth, wait till I'm done. Oh God, this is why I just hate everyone. I hate everybody. I hate everyone. Oh, I hate everybody. I hate everyone. I hate everyone. I hate everybody. I hate everyone. Oh, I hate everybody. I hate everyone. I hate everyone. And that means you and you and you and you. That means you and you and you and you. That means you too. You know what? You're not special, and neither is your kid. And I hate how you show me the stupid drawing they did. And I hate hipsters, and I hate anyone seen. And I hate people that don't go when the light turns green. And I hate people that can't listen who love to talk. And I hate your stupid clothes and the stupid way you walk. More or less, I hate everyone and everything is true. But most of all, yeah, I hate you. Shut up, bitch. Shut up now. Keeping it sick is gonna make me smile. Shut your mouth, wait till I'm done. Oh God, this is why I just hate everyone. I hate everybody. I hate everyone. Oh, I hate everybody. I hate everyone. I hate everyone. I hate everybody. I hate everyone. Oh, I hate everybody. I hate everyone. I hate everyone. And that means you and you and you.
iHeartRadio shines the spotlight on Van Morrison.
In 1968, Van released arguably the best album of his career, entitled Astral Weeks, noted for its poetic complexity incorporating folk-styled jazz. It was a success on all levels except its commercial response.
Can I just have one moment dance with you, my love? Can I just make some more romance with you, my love?
In contrast, Morrison's 1970 optimistic follow-up, Moondance, not only catapulted the singer's popularity, but finally received public acclaim. From Moondance's release in 1970 onward, Morrison's records were said to stylize a more celebratory tone due to his recent marriage to Janet Planet and their relocation to California.
Come on out and dance. Oh, come on out and make romance. Yes, indeed. Come on out and dance. Come on out, make romance.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more Van Morrison and all your favorite artists.
iHeartRadio goes one-on-one with Bob Seger to discuss the importance of keeping true to your own vision.
If everybody does everything in a totally commercial fashion, music never gets any better. It's just everybody copying everybody else. And you have to fight for your own uniqueness. You have to fight for your own vision and stick to it when the powers that be are making money because they're commercializing you. They're telling you, you know, but if you put another chorus at the end or whatever, you know, and it doesn't fit the structure of the song, but if you keep hammering that chorus and make your verse shorter, you know, and they don't know what they're talking about. You know, it's your vision, and you have to have the strength to stick with that.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more Bob Seger and all your favorite artists.
Like most kids from a privileged white upper-middle-class suburban background, for a significant portion of his childhood, he was pretty convinced he was down. AD on the radio.
Yeah, oh, let's go. Talking that mess, better act like you know. Oh, let's go tonight. Walk away, punk, yeah, bitch. That's right, I know this. You're nothing but a punk, bitch. You're nothing but a punk, bitch. So walk away, yeah, yeah.
So, Funkhauser, did you watch the debate last night?
Yeah, like every second of it.
Every second of it. I was, you know,
The Royal Rumble, the main event.
I gotta wonder about the timing of the debate. Only because I couldn't watch it. I was on the radio. What time did it go on?
5 o'clock Pacific.
5 o'clock Pacific.
Right
yeah,
when
that's
we were
right.
on the radio.
Right when we were on the radio, and I'm on the radio in California, and 5 o'clock. I don't know how many people are home by 5 o'clock. That's usually when people usually get in their cars around 5:30, right?
Well, yeah.
I don't know. Were they planning on having sort of like GOP debate happy hours at bars? Because 5 o'clock seems entirely too early to get everybody home. I mean, on the East Coast, obviously that's bang on target, but on the West Coast, not so much. I wonder about that. It's so many things with regard to these first couple of debates make me feel like this is not what it's about. This is not what it's about in terms of it being a participatory democracy. Now, the ratings were through the roof for both events. Like the first debate, crazy, but the first debate was on Fox News, and if you didn't have cable, you were SOL. Like if you couldn't watch, and you couldn't watch it on YouTube, there were a couple of live streams that people had going with things like Periscope and live YouTube streams, and those all got shut down super quick. And I couldn't watch it because, again, I was on the air, and they didn't have Fox News on the TV in that particular studio. If you walk over to the news department, they've got all the news channels, but they didn't want to pay for that extra bit of the cable package in my studio in the rock station, which meant that I couldn't watch it. And a lot of people couldn't watch it. Say you're a cord cutter, or say you can't afford cable. It's like we're supposed to be able to make informed decisions with regard to what's going on when it comes to pulling the lever for democracy. And I almost feel as though it's being set up, these couple of preliminary debates, I almost feel like they're being set up in a way that is purposefully obtuse, that is difficult to catch, because I could not catch either of them. I haven't had a chance to watch the Cliff Notes from last night's debate either, but I hear it was a good one.
Did. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure the ratings will be through the roof. So clearly, people are watching them. But it just feels set up to the point where it feels like it's been set up in a way that it's difficult for the average American to watch it. Either you're at work or you don't necessarily have the cable package, and then they shut it down everywhere else. So how's everybody supposed to be able to make an informed decision? Now, that's in theory. In reality, the ratings, like we said, have skyrocketed, and these numbers that the debates are getting are not only higher than any other political debate in the history of political debates, but higher than, what was the last one? It was the highest rated cable broadcast of all time ever. So, people are definitely watching, but it's not being made available to everyone. So, for those of you like me that were busy committing that act of soul-destroying drudgery known as work, where you sit under fluorescent lights and wait for the bitter end to come, as opposed to being free to watch television and see what exactly happened during the debate last night. Funkhauser, do you have some of that audio from it that we can, the Cliff Notes, if you will?
I guess we'll start with Jeb Bush and Trump fighting about gambling in Florida.
Okay.
It was my obligation as a businessman to my family, to my company, to my employees, to get along with all politicians. And I did a damn good job in doing it.
He supports Pelosi. He supports Schumer. He supports Clinton.
Got along with everybody.
And when he asked Florida to have casino gambling, we said no.
Wrong.
We said no, and that's the simple fact. Don't
make things up, Jeb. Don't
cut me off.
Come on.
Wrong.
Yeah, that's just going to be my thing from here on in whenever I disagree with someone vaguely. Like, do you think that wrong? Do you want to stay late too? Wrong. Do you want to attend this sales meeting to make the radio station look good with no promise of any skin of yours being in the game? Wrong. I think I'm just going to adopt the Trumpism thing. What else do we have from the debate?
Well, Carly Fiorina went off about something here.
My husband Frank and I buried a child to drug addiction. We must invest more in the treatment of drugs. We are misleading young people when we tell them that marijuana is just like having a beer. It's not. And the marijuana that kids are smoking today is not the same as the marijuana that Jeb Bush smoked 40 years ago. Sorry.
Ooh.
Yeah, they brought up
she did
that
there
earlier.
I mean, I get the fact that Jeb Bush smoked pot back in the day. But did you see how she combined the death of her child with a dig at Jeb Bush? That shows to me, Like, just to have a dig at Jeb Bush mixed in with a, hey, we tragically lost our child and buried our child to drug addiction and now take a pot shot at an opponent. That shows an almost sociopathic dedication to winning. Did that bother anybody else? Is anybody else talking about that? That's two entirely separate conversations, but she seemed perfectly okay combining them. Am I the only one to notice this, Funkhauser? Have you heard this from anybody else?
That's why we pulled the clip there.
Yeah.
It was a big deal.
Yeah. So, if you want an unfeeling robot with no regard for human life, even the human life that sprang from her own loins, well, there you go. Fiorina appears to be your front runner. God, that actually gave me chills. That was so sort of inhuman. Go on. What else do we got?
And finally, everyone was asked what their Secret Service code name would be. All right, so they're gonna go through them all pretty quickly. So here it goes.
What would you want, Governor Christie? I'll start with you. Your Secret Service code name to be?
I would just say True Heart. Well, I have one now. It was my detail. They call me Unit 1. My wife says, you'll never be Unit 1. I'm Unit 1. You're Unit 2.
Secretariat.
Governor Walker?
Harley. I love riding Harleys.
Ever ready. It's very high energy, Donald.
Mr. Trump?
Humble.
Dr. Carson?
One nation.
Senator Cruz?
You know, as a Cuban, I might go with Cohiba.
Senator Rubio?
Well, there's some people in Florida upset at me over a joke I made about Florida State, but what the heck? I want my code name to be Gator.
Governor Huckabee?
I'd go with Duck Hunter.
Senator Paul?
Justice never sleeps.
Yeah. I don't know about you.
What would you want your personalized license plate? Secret Service code name to be?
Oh, gosh, you got to put me on the spot. They've all been preparing their answers for this one. You go first.
You can't do better than Cohiba?
You know what? My family invented the Kit Kat bar, and everybody loves Kit Kat bars, and the chocolate dynasty of Rowntree's chocolate from which I sprang. And it's such a disappointment because when anyone hears, well, especially when females hear that your family invented the Kit Kat bar, you must have unlimited money and chocolate. Neither of which is true, but back in the day, my family came up with a Kit Kat bar. So, does Kit Kat sound like I'm a transgendered go-go dancer? If that's my code name.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess candy bar isn't much better. You know what? I would call my my code name would be
Break
After
me
8.
off a piece of that, President.
I'd have to go after serious consideration. The real one, After 8.
After 8.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Well, because it's another candy that my family invented. It's called the After 8 Mint. It's not one of the ones that made the. It didn't experience the level of global domination that the Kit Kat bar did, but it's delicious. So, I think we'll go with that. We'll go with After 8. English people will get it, which is great if you're an American president.
What about Canadians? Canadians?
Canadians? Would you have your nickname be Canadian?
No, I mean like chocolate-wise. After 8, is that a...
I don't know. In Canada, they still have the Queen on their money. So, they might get things like After 8 minutes. And I don't know what the pasteurization laws are over there, but, if you have European chocolate, whether it's English or French or Dutch or Belgian, it is infinitely more delicious than coming over here and eating a slab of awfulness known as a Hershey bar.
Yeah,
Too bad, so sad. I'm sorry, Hershey, but not good. And it's not Hershey's fault. It's pasteurization laws in America that are different. And if you're in Orlando, Florida, where we're on Real Radio 104.1.
Radio 104.1.
And you do that whole Epcot Center thing, and you go to the part of Epcot Center that's supposed to be England. A lot of the time, they serve you up English chocolate, and you'll be able to taste the difference absolutely immediately. So, yeah, I'm going to go with After 8, and people that have been to the Epcot, been to the England exhibit at Epcot might know exactly what I'm talking about. Know that it's mint, it's chocolate, it's refreshing, it's delicious, it's me. What would yours be, Funkhauser?
Well, I like Ted Robinson because that's kind of my alias anyway. I can't remember the reference where it's from, but I think it's a 50s TV show.
To Google.
Where the robot thing from there was this big, giant robot movies from Google Ted Robinson. That's the
Okay.
funniest alias that I use in hotels and stuff. Ted Robinson, your room is ready. Ted Robinson.
Wait a second. You check into hotels under an alias? Let's just pull this one over to the side of the pretentiousness turnpike for a second. Why?
Because it's funny. Come on.
It is funny.
I could
Yeah,
go
actually,
as Barry
it is funny.
Funkhauser, and then they look at me. I was like, what? Ted Robinson.
Ted Robinson. Okay, that's all good. Despite the large number of candidates on the stage at the Ronald Reagan Library, the second debate of the Republican presidential candidates was, to me, it was sort of the bits I caught. I haven't had a chance to watch the whole thing, but to me, it was a pretty clear illustration of the fact that we don't have a whole lot new going on the right. And that's okay. I mean, look, that's a whole thing that's the spirit of being a conservative. The spirit of being a conservative is not necessarily to introduce a whole bunch of new things, rather you want to conserve values and just the general experience and fiscal policies of the past. Now, the conservative thing needs an injection of life, though, or it needs to be brought kicking and screaming into the year 2015. And I don't know. I lean conservative on a lot of things. Family values, fiscal conservatism. Socially, suppose I'm a little bit liberal. And when you tell people that you are fiscally conservative and socially a little bit liberal, where you're just like, hey, you know what? What business is it of mine or anybody else's what two people do in the name of love? If you're socially liberal, where you're cool with gay marriage and things of that nature, and you're socially conservative, what usually happens is that's like a duck call to libertarians who go, oh, you sound like a libertarian. And I remember the first time that happened when I was sort of like breaking down my personal philosophy, which is, hey, the government needs to take less of my money and stay the hell off of my lawn and keep the hell out of my life. And people were like, oh, you're a libertarian. I was like, am I? And they're like, yeah, come and hang out with our other libertarian friends. Smoke pot. Look at my collection of AR-15s. Check out this cross that you don't have to relight every single time. It's gas-powered. And I was like, okay, it's just, all right. Yeah, no, I think I'll just declare myself an independent and not give too much away, play my political cards close to the chest so I don't have to go to any uncomfortable meetings of people that I find to be abhorrent. Not that I find libertarians to be abhorrent, but, you know, the group that was saying, hey, come on over. Yeah, that wasn't my steez. But the sad part about what's going on the right is they're still playing to the angry old white guy vote. They're still playing to the angry old white guy vote. They're still desperate to milk that for the last drop of fiscal and political power that they can. And the one thing that I think sinks it for absolutely all these candidates, or the vast majority of these candidates, is the Bible thumping thing. It's a Bible thumping thing. And look, remove from the equation who Donald Trump is. And by the way, if you are a Bible thumper, if your religion, if your spirituality, if your Christianity, if your whatever the hell it is an important part of your life, I would never, ever interfere with that. I just don't want it anywhere near my politics. Founding fathers had this idea of separation of church and state, and we have failed to do that so wildly since 1776 that it's made us the laughingstock of the rest of the world. People look at the religious nature of our political structure around the world, and they see that as so semi-evolved. It's almost like we're picking fleas off of each other and eating them, the amount of religion we allow into our politics. And this is why the right is kind of sunk, except for one bright spot who has a bunch of other things going against him, whose name rhymes with schmump.
USA Headline News, I'm Tammy Rose. Donald Trump got the most talk time last night on CNN's Republican debate. Now the talk is about whether he walked away the winner. One thing is for sure, a lot of people were watching. At one point, 921,000 people were streaming the debate on the internet in addition to TV.
I think his response, his visceral response to attack people on their appearance, short, tall, fat, ugly.
I never attacked him on his look, and believe me, there's plenty of subject matter right there.
I got to tell you the truth. They could care less about your careers. They care about theirs.
11 candidates took the stage in CNN's Republican debate. A powerful 8.3 magnitude earthquake struck off Chile's coast, triggering a tsunami alert and coastal evacuations. Chilean officials say at least 8 people were killed and at least one other person is missing in the quake. You're listening to USA Headline News.
Did you know by age 50, half of all men have an enlarged prostate? This means more urges to urinate, longer bathroom trips, waking at night to urinate, or issues with sex. If this sounds familiar, call us now, because we're shipping free bottles of Super Beta Prostate to listeners of this station. Super Beta Prostate is a non-prescription formula guaranteed to reduce the symptoms of your enlarged prostate. It's yours free. Pay only shipping and handling. Just call 1-800-391-6916. In clinical trials, the ingredient in Super Beta Prostate was shown to reduce urges to urinate, improve bladder emptying, reduce waking at night to urinate, and improve quality of life. This Super Beta Prostate free offer is for listeners of this station, but it won't last. Don't wait. Just call 1-800-391-6916. That's 1-800-391-6916. Call 1-800-391-6916.
It's trending. In baseball, games to note involving the playoff races. The Rangers rocked the Astros for a 14-3 win. Texas now has a 1.5 lead on Houston for first place in the AL West. The Astros went with ace pitcher Dallas Keuchel, and he took the loss. He was roughed up, allowing 9 runs on 11 hits in 4 2/3 innings. The Twins lost to the Tigers 7-4 in 12 innings. Minnesota remains a 1.5 back at Houston for the second American League wildcard spot. Blue Jays beat the Braves 9-1. Yankees down the Rays 3-1. Toronto still has a 3-game lead on New York atop the AL East. The Cardinals edged the Brewers 5-4. St. Louis now has a 4-game lead on Pittsburgh for first place in the NL Central. Pirates lost to the Cubs 3-2 in 12 innings. In the NFL, the Houston Texans will reportedly start Ryan Mallett at quarterback in place of the benched Brian Hoyer. Cincinnati Bengals defensive back Adam Pac-Man Jones reportedly fined $35,000 for removing the helmet of Raiders wide receiver Amari Cooper Sunday and slamming Cooper's head into the helmet. I'm Eddie Garcia.
iHeartRadio puts the spotlight on James Taylor.
Born in Boston in 1948, James Taylor began playing the cello as a child. He switched to guitar and started to think about being a musician full-time when he met guitarist Danny Korchmar. They formed a folk band called The Flying Machine. It started out well, but eventually James and Danny were overcome with addiction and they disbanded, leaving Taylor to move to London in a last-ditch attempt to break the habit. While there, he submitted a demo tape to Peter Asher, a scouting talent for the Beatles' new label, Apple. His first album, entitled simply James Taylor, was not a success, but it did get him noticed.
And ain't it just like a friend of mine to hit me from behind? Yes, I'm gone to Carolina in my mind.
Taylor released his breakthrough album, Sweet Baby James, in 1970. It went triple platinum and spawned his first top 10 hit, the intensely personal Fire and Rain. The following year saw the release of another million seller, Mudslide Slim and The Blue Horizon, with the #1 single, You've Got a Friend, written by his longtime friend, Carol Kane.
Just call up my name, and you know wherever I am, I'll come running. Oh, yes, I will see you again.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more James Taylor coming up.
Winter, spring, summer, or fall.
I'm having a great time. Ted, you have something dangling from your chin.
Okay, here. Did I get it?
Not yet. It's right under your, I think it is your chin.
Oh, yeah, my double chin. I'm losing it thanks to small step number 85. When eating out, choose smaller portions.
I see. Well, it's working. I think your chin just fell into my ceviche.
Take a small step to get healthy at smallstep.gov. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health.
Real Radio 104.1.
Now, more AD on the radio.
Back once again, the ill behavior, delivering and giving you a musical savior. Back once again, it's your boy AD again, nobody rock a party better than me. Back once again, the ill behavior, delivering and giving you a musical savior. Back once again, it's your boy AD again, nobody rock a party better than me.
You heard Hillary Clinton's Trump impression? Hillary Clinton asked Jimmy Fallon if he'd ever touched Donald Trump's hair, then let Jimmy Fallon touch her hair. She also did an impersonation of Trump, which, what do you think? Hold on.
Have you ever been able to let you touch his hair?
His real hair?
His real hair. Have you ever really touched it?
He's only been here, it feels like a hologram when he's here. It's just that, no, I've never touched his real, I don't know. I think it is real hair. He's never let me touch his hair, no.
You want to touch mine?
Of course.
Sure, okay, go ahead.
It's real! It's real! It's real! It's real! It's got wave and it's fantastic, you guys! And it smells great!
You can't say the same thing about the color, but, the hair
but
is
you're getting
real.
close, yeah.
It's getting close.
We can work on that, yeah.
Exactly.
He was talking about you. We had him on the show, and he was great. And then we talked to him, and he said, he goes, Hillary Clinton uses the teleprompter too much and scripted too much.
Right. Well, yeah.
What do you think?
Well, I have used them from time to time. I learned that from watching how successful President Obama was, because he knows what he wants to say, and he really is intent upon delivering it. But I could go more stream of consciousness. This is a huge election. You never know what might happen. Let's get rid of the people that don't agree with us and only talk to the people who do. You could do that without a teleprompter.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah. All right, yeah. That was a good impression. If I need something, I'm going to call you.
Yeah. Calling it a good impression was a little generous. It's interesting, though. It's interesting. Post-email scandal, or whatever the hell you want to call it, Hillary's had some ground to make up. This time last year, Hillary was going to trample all over the competition. Trump has been the disruptor like you wouldn't believe. He's way out ahead, and it wasn't something that I think anyone in Hillary's camp counted on. Your biggest opponent will probably wind up being Donald Trump. Really? The guy that gets into Twitter fights with Rosie O'Donnell? That doesn't seem presidential. Bear in mind, Ronald Reagan got his start playing second fiddle to a monkey in a TV show called Bedtime for Bonzo. And take that when you consider what's presidential or not, and consider him a real threat.
Yeah.
That's bananas. But look, I don't know if you saw the debate last night. I don't think you had to see the debate last night to figure out that, well, people will declare winners and losers. I think a lot of people walked away feeling like Trump and Carly Fiorina came out on top in that particular situation. But I really don't think that when we see polling happen over the next couple of days, that this is going to reveal shifts of a seismic nature in any direction. It looks to me like if you look at the GOP, what you have is three levels of candidates. On top, you have the non-politicians. You got Trump, you got Fiorina, who really, really has come from behind to make herself a force to be reckoned with. Although, I mean, look, being able to present yourself well in a debate, Fiorina, to me, coming from behind and standing as an intimidating potential candidate, says just how little the debate has to do with any kind of reality. Because you look at her track record as someone who has no political career and who's, to me, she seems like someone that's managed to fail upward. She was in charge of Xerox, got paid out the friggin' yang to be in charge of Xerox. Xerox lost all kinds of money, had to fire thousands and thousands of people while she was helming the ship, and it did not go well. Like, I look at her resume and honestly see one of those people that I wish I was more like, in that it's someone that managed to fail upward in spectacular style. But she's tough. She suffers no fools. And as we could all tell, when she combined a story about losing her child to drug addiction and combined it with a jab at Jeb Bush, she has an almost sociopathic dedication to winning. It is crazy. And then there's Bush. Bush, who, well, in these debates, stands his ground and goes, I'm more right-wing than you, I'm more conservative than you, I'm more Republican than you. We need a true Republican and a true conservative. And then you got Carson. This rounds out the top level. He's very thoughtful. He's easy to like. The only thing that really, really, the only thing that really sort of like is a giant thorn in his side is the fact that he's got exactly zero political experience, doesn't know how to deal with the rest of the world. At least Trump has made international business deals. He's got some idea of how to deal with people from different countries. But Ben Carson is a neurosurgeon. Foreign policy experience as a neurosurgeon, not something that comes along every day. We like him. He's principled. He's thoughtful. Oh, he's too much of a Bible thumper, though, for me. I mean, like I said, we respect Bible thumping. Bible thumping to people that find it important is a big deal. But keep the hell out of my politics. Separation of church and state. And like I said, the rest of the world looks at the level of religion allowed in our politics and looks at us like we're semi-evolved simians who are picking and eating fleas off of one another. They're like, you see how much they talk about God in their elections? What does that have to do with anything? Aren't they like, the new world? Didn't the colonies rebel against us for separation of church and state and all this sort of stuff? And no taxation without representation? Well, if you've got sort of like a corrupted church in the business of politics and they're not getting taxed, yet they're imposing sort of legislation through politics and religion that affect everyday people, and you don't have a chance to vote or not vote in your religious officials, doesn't that seem like a huge contradiction and a giant conflict of interest? Yeah, but the Americans are doing it anyway. That's how the rest of the world looks at us in terms of the amount of religion that's allowed within our politics. And then you got Kasich and Rubio. That's sort of like the top tier. Second tier, that would be your Rand Pauls, your Chris Christies, your Scott Walkers, Ted Cruzes, Huckabees. And then third tier, well, Lindsey Graham, sorry, try not to laugh, Bobby Jindal, sorry, Rick Santorum, and George Pataki. So why do we have one very big problem with our front runner? We'll get into that shortly.
With puppies in my face and Dad gotta join the human race. Time for a yawn and a stretch and a walk, you see. They know my order at the restaurant across the street. That's why when I shuffle in, my coffee's already waiting for me.
iHeartRadio puts the spotlight on Steely Dan. Singer David Palmer left the group and Donald Fagen took over lead vocals starting with 1973's Countdown to Ecstasy. But their next hit was 1974's Pretzel Logic. It also became their third gold-certified album, and the song Ricky Don't Lose That Number became their biggest pop hit, reaching number 4 on the Hot 100. Becker and Fagen preferred writing and producing, causing issues with other members who were eager to tour. Members gradually left the band, starting with Baxter and Hodder in 1974. Katie Lied from 1975 marked Steely Dan's increased use of studio musicians, including singer-keyboardist Michael McDonald and drummer Jeff Porcaro. McDonald was also heard in 1976's The Royal Scam, which had more prominent guitar work than their previous albums. Asia from 1977 would become their best-selling album and their first platinum record. The title came from the name of a friend's wife and showed a stronger jazz influence on their musical style. The song Peg was a hit for the group, peaking at number 11. It was also the last album for Diaz, who left the band that year. All things Steely Dan, info, music, and more are on iHeartRadio, keyword Steely Dan.
iHeartRadio goes one-on-one with Mike Rutherford to discuss the art of songwriting.
I've learned one thing over the years is that actually you can't control it. You can't force it. You can't analyze it. You can't worry about it. You just go and have a good time and mess around, and then something comes along and you grab it. It's something intangible, and if you try and make a program how to do it and do it better, you get lost. So it's like a free-form thing, which you can't control. You just let it ride or not ride. And if it's not working, then you just have a break. That's what I've learned.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more Mike Rutherford and all your favorite artists.
Real radio. Real radio. Real radio. 104.1.
Now, someone who everybody wants to punch in the face. AD on the radio.
So I think that I'm changing my my Secret Service ID to something else.
Yeah.
I think
I like your After 8.
After 8 is good, but it lacks a certain amount of panache.
Kind of sounds like Leave Him Alone Until After 8.
Yeah, no, it does. And it does allude to the fact that I'm a bit of a night owl. But I think I want to go with something that has, like I said, a little bit more panache. I think, if possible, I would like to go by the name Turd Ferguson.
And finally, back again, Burt Reynolds in a commanding lead with $14.
Hey, check out the podium. Look at this.
Mr. Reynolds has apparently changed his name to Turd Ferguson.
Yeah, that's right. Turd Ferguson. It's a funny name.
Great. Mr. Reynolds, unfortunately, you're in the lead, so we'll start with you.
Yeah, I'll take the condom thing for $8,000.
That's condiments. For $400. This condiment is made from mustard seeds. Burt Reynolds.
That's not my name.
Okay. Turd Ferguson.
Yeah, what do you want?
You buzzed in.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, well, that's your opinion.
I hate my job.
I bring this up because a woman called Talia did something awesome on Jeopardy last night. She got Alex Trebek to say Turd Ferguson.
No, she didn't. She did?
Yes. Yeah. She didn't know the answer to the final Jeopardy question, so this is what she wrote.
Category for final is Oscar-nominated songs, and here's the clue. This song from a 1999 animated film about censorship had a word censored from its Oscar performance. Talia, this wasn't your day. You were struggling, but you came up with this as your response for final. Let's see. What is the love ballad of Turd Ferguson? P.S. Hi, Mom. Nope. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. It's good stuff.
I like how that was in her head during the do. What do I write?
Well, I think that had to be a premeditated thing. Like, if I ever can't get the answer, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make Alex Trebek say Turd Ferguson. So, as tribute to Talia and her performance on Jeopardy last night, I believe that I would go with the name Turd Ferguson. If that would be my Secret Service name. Oh, my gosh. So, we got a problem. We got a problem with our front runner. A guy who I really like. Not like. I mean, Donald Trump has lots of things about him that are absolutely abhorrent. And the way he communicates leaves a lot to be desired. But you know what? He's not worried about being mired in political correctness, and that's refreshing. He's not a politician, and that's refreshing. And Donald Trump, well, he likes to make money and he likes to win, and those two things are intrinsically American. You might not like Donald Trump, you might not think he's a good guy, but you know what? If you were going to have somebody negotiating on your behalf, you know who you want that to be? Yeah, Donald Trump, because he wins a lot in his negotiations. But all the things that he stands for, you know, like if you just take the bullet points, and who knows how sincere or insincere he is about this whole run at being a president in the first place, the idea of making America great again. And you know what's interesting? The right loves him, and he's pulling some distinctly lefty stuff, like complaining that the amount that CEOs make is just outrageous, saying it's too much, saying that we need a revamped healthcare system that allows everybody to have healthcare. He's tearing down Obamacare, but he's talking about finding a way to get everybody healthcare. And you know what? I kind of like, here's the thing. Politically, the things that appeal to me are kind of diametrically opposed. Like, I suppose when it comes down to it, I'm an old school Reagan laissez-faire capitalist that believes in the free market. But I also think if somebody breaks their leg, or gets cancer, they shouldn't have to start a GoFundMe page. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. And Trump kind of stands for some of these things. He's talking about CEO pay being too high. And it's amazing that the right hasn't jumped all over this and going like, he's a socialist. He's talking about redistribution of wealth. But yeah, they seem to have turned a bit of a blind eye to that one. But there's a lot of things that I like about Trump. And I think the main thing that I like about Trump is that he's not bringing religion into politics. look, you have to say that you believe in God, and you have to say that, you're a practicing, you are a religious person, and you have a relationship with God to get elected in this country. People are like, oh, could we have a black president? Could we have a Hispanic president? Could we have a Cuban president? Could we have an Italian president? I remember when Giuliani was making a run at things. It's like Italians in New York, his people were like, they'll never go for it. People look down at Italians. We can never have an Italian president. It's never going to be a thing. It's never going to happen. That was the rhetoric. Are people ready for an Italian president, a female president? I don't think America is ready for an atheist president. If you had somebody that was absolutely qualified to do the job in every way, shape, or form, and they're like, don't believe in God, just not my thing. Never have, never will, but, eminently qualified to run the country, that person would never get elected. Not never. Maybe in the future. But it's crazy how much religion is allowed into our politics, given the fact that the founding fathers were like, hey, we need separation of church and state. Amen. Ironically enough. So the thing that I like about Donald Trump is that he doesn't allow religion to interfere with his politics, it doesn't seem. It really doesn't. And that's appealing about him. And many things are appealing about Donald Trump. And I say this as devil's advocate, because there's so many people I know that are like, the idea of Donald Trump is absolutely ridiculous. I was like, then why is he so far ahead of everybody else? He speaks to a part of America that needs to be spoken to, that people in office haven't spoken to in a very, very, very long time. Whether he's sincere or not is really tough to tell. Now, the problem with Trump is that it's not even the immature practices of getting into Twitter wars with Megyn Kelly's and Rosie O'Donnell's. Like we said, that's not presidential, but who cares? Ronald Reagan played second fiddle to a monkey in bedtime for Bonzo. He went on to be president. He wasn't a politician to begin with, and it all worked out for him. And now he's this demagogue. He's this absolute hero of the right. So the not being presidential thing, or behaving in a way that could be viewed as churlish or immature. Some people call it him being a bully. I don't think he is a bully. Well, if he is a bully, at the root of his being a bully is that I think Donald Trump is deeply sensitive. I think that people that say he's a narcissist, well, I think that narcissism springs from insecurity, as it does with a good many people. And if you're like me, you try and adopt this sort of policy where you're like, if someone says, hey, F you, man, you don't have to take it. It's like someone trying to hand you a giant steaming turd Ferguson. You can pick it up, and then you're part of the whole equation. But if you leave it alone, it has nothing to do with you. Donald Trump has this inability. Donald Trump has this inability to rise above. Donald Trump has an inability to ignore people that are going to tear him down. He's busy looking back over his shoulder and fighting back and sniping at people when he could be using that energy to move forward. Now, I mean, he's sort of successfully destroying a lot of the opposition by sniping at people, so there is maybe a little bit more of a method to his madness. But that's the problem with a guy like that on the world stage. Donald Trump's a very sensitive individual, and you can tell by the way he lashes out. If he was really secure in himself, he'd be like, these people are talking mess about me. I don't care. I have my own life. I have enough reasons to feel good about being myself, and I don't need to deal with all this. And so it's his inability, I think, to rise above in these situations. It's his inability to put his ego aside and just continue doing what he's doing and serving himself and serving the people he's working with and working for, and maybe serving the American public. If he could do that, if he could put himself aside, I think that could be a thing. If he addresses that, I think that could be a thing. You know what I'm amazed by? I'm amazed none of Donald Trump's handlers have equated him with Winston Churchill, because Churchill was the same sort of thing, very dynamic, charismatic leader. But also, there's that famous Churchill quote where someone walks up to him, and a woman walked up to him and said, "You're drunk." He's like, "Madam, I may be drunk, but when I wake up tomorrow morning, I'll be sober. You will still be ugly." It's Donald Trump. And no one's brought that up. One of the greatest leaders of modern times, and no one's thought to make that equation, and it's screaming at you right in the face. But there you go. Trump's inability to rise above, to stop being a narcissist, to stop taking everything so personally when he is heading toward a position of power where he's supposed to speak for all of us, personalizing the whole thing, not doing him favors. And I think that might be what stops people from actually pulling the lever on Election Day.
What would you want your Secret Service code name to be? Mr. Trump?
Humble.
So there you go. I got a message from Lisa H. Speaking of rising above, who said, "What do you do when coworkers talk smack about you behind your back? I don't know what I did to get this kind of treatment from this girl I work with. As far as I know, it's just simply existing that makes her detest me. I'm trying my best to keep my head high and continue to do my job, but this has been beating me down ever since I started this job, and I don't know what to do. I'd appreciate it if you touched on it during the show. I wanted to think I was just being paranoid, but a big mistake happened at work that was caught, and I just so happened to overhear her saying that it should all be on me and that I should be terminated. It wasn't entirely my fault because others didn't catch this mistake either, so she's definitely targeting me." Well, here's the thing. In the workplace, not being like Donald Trump, not personalizing things, and kind of continuing being the best you that you can be is probably the best move forward. Probably the best move forward. And you know what? I've had sworn enemies at work, people that wanted my head on a pike a year and a half ago, that I have really good working relationships with now. People that hated me, that have recently sent me emails going, "Thank you for being such a good friend." Relationships at work change and evolve. And no matter how much she hates you or you hate her, don't let it devolve into something that's going to ruin things for you even more moving forward, because you're probably both going to stick around. You're both there for a reason. And if you're going to remain in each other's spaces, you got to deal with it. Now, I would suggest that you deal with it. I talked to some HR buddies about this, and I would suggest that you deal with it with her. You got to do what you don't want to do, and that's confront the problem. But here's the thing that you absolutely must do. It's unpleasant, but you got to do it in a way where there's a witness, where it's in a room with an HR type, and it's officially documented if it needs to be documented, and because otherwise it'll just be a bunch of hearsay. If you go, "Hey, let's sit down at a bar or over coffee and work things out," who knows what the hell they're going to do with that information. So get in a room with her and an HR person, do what you don't want to do, deal with the confrontation, and then open yourself to the fact that if you don't personalize things the way Donald Trump seems to, as much as you might be sworn enemies with this person right now, there's a chance that you could be best of work friends in a year and a half. You never know. I hold out hope for a lot of things. And for Lisa's work situation, for Funkhauser's trip to Vegas that he's taken after he gets out of the studio, and for the future of our America. Thank you so much for hanging.
You know how other times you feel like it's cool to turn the other cheek and give people the benefit of the doubt even when they don't deserve it. And sometimes you feel good about yourself for being the better person and doing that. Well, this is not one of those times.